Everyone, and welcome to today's Hot Jobs Special Thursday edition. Before we get started, I do want to thank our sponsor today from CNC Boiler, which is a family-owned and operated commercial boiler company servicing the North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia areas. If you are looking to get into this line of work, we also have a skill bridge with CNC Boiler. You can find that at our job site right above our heads here, hiredmilitary.us. With the CNC Boiler Skill Bridge. Rue, thanks for joining me again today on a special Thursday edition.
It's a collector's edition.
Yes,
so yeah, you guys should record it, keep it. It could be worth money someday.
Never know. Yeah, never know. I don't think we've ever done a Thursday that I can recall. So definitely a collector's item. And I think that we have a really exciting topic today that I'm hoping our audience enjoys as much as we have enjoyed prepping for it. So as we were kind of discussing what we should talk about this week, one of the things I love about this time of year, one, I always think I need a new comforter from when I went to college many years ago. I just feel like all the bedding and all the new stuff comes out right before kids go back to school. And for some reason, I love that. But one of the things I've been seeing along with everyone's dorm setup on social media has been this surge in the sorority life, especially in schools in the South, where parents were hiring consultants for their daughters to join a sorority. So a friend brought this up to me and she said, isn't it wild that you can spend $5,000 on a consultant so that these 18-year-olds can join a sorority? I wish they had that for adults. And she's like, I've been at the same job for 15 years. I couldn't imagine like trying to scrub my social media now or how I would interview or what I would wear. She's like, I don't even know where I would start. And so I thought that spawned some really good conversations internally, because today we're going to be talking about how you should be doing that for yourself.
Yeah. And I think before the show, we were talking about like examples that like resonate. This has to resonate with every single person that has a digital footprint.
Yes.
You go to a restaurant, or you're going to be going to a restaurant, you're looking at what's on the menu. You're looking at the motif. Am I overdressed? Am I underdressed? Flip-flops or no flip-flops?
Yeah.
That's the same thing that people are doing about you when you're looking for a new role or getting onto a board that's representing a certain population. There's lots of instances. So this is definitely something that if you think people aren't looking, they are, if they care.
Yes. Yes. And I think you bring up a great example about the restaurant. So we have been so conditioned to research something before we arrive, whether that's a vacation, a restaurant. I'm a person who I know what I'm ordering before I even arrive at the restaurant. I want to know what's on the menu. Like you said, I want to see the ambiance. What does the restaurant look like? What does the food look like? How am I supposed to be dressed? Is there parking? Like, what does the outside look like? Is there going to be outdoor seating? So I think we are conditioned as people, especially in this age of social media. Before you do business somewhere, you look it up, right? Maybe you look up their Facebook, maybe it's their Instagram, maybe it's their business website, maybe it's LinkedIn. So we're conditioned to research a person, place, or thing before we start interacting with it. So there would be no difference if you're interviewing for a position. People are going to start Googling your name. They're going to look at what type of social media presence you have. And I think that is a really important step that people could be missing in their job search.
And this isn't something that's new. It's more digitally inclined now, but yeah. I mean, I've lost count over the years when I was in the military of how many times a commander would say, hey, HRC, Human Resources Command, has presented these 3 officers to fill this certain role. Hey, Rue, what do you know? Do you know anything about these guys? Have you met any of these candidates? And then if I didn't, it would be like, can you find something out? So then I'm like looking at their record brief, looking to see where they've been, see if I know anybody that was in their units, drawing those connections, and then like, hey, do you know Joe? Were they good? Are they a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Inside the circle or outside of the circle?
Yeah.
And then with the digital footprint and, media being the way it is, straight Google, you can Google Joaquin de Quintana. You're gonna find a couple things. I haven't even looked recently, but you're gonna see Joaquin of Quintana Roo, which is the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula. The mayor of that province is name just happens to be my first name, and he's in the place that my first name or my last name originates from. So you see him, but before he went in, you would see my DVIDs, thank you to my now ex-wife, while on deployment and things like that they don't disappear. They sit in a digital realm forever.
Yes.
And so being cognizant of what it is that you're posting, granted that was all in, good faith and good spirit, but if you're ranting about this political thing, that political thing, this person that's a CEO, or that person that was did something wrong, that may not reflect well with the company that you're trying to find a job with.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. For those who are listening in, put in the comments if you've done a screen of your social media or a Google search of your own name within the last year. And if you have, what were your findings? I think, another point is like, why do people do this, right? I think one, to prepare for a conversation, maybe they help find some common ground. Maybe there is a way to start personalizing the person on the other side of the interview. And I think the less talked about part is that companies are investing in their employees and they have something to lose if you are not a true fit with the outward portraying of their values. They have something to lose by hiring you. If what you are portraying out in public for everyone to find, including customers, stakeholders, board members, that may not align with their company values.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. But what can you do about it?
Yeah.
You can go back and you can look and you can delete. When you go to like 3-letter agencies, they tell you no social media presence. So you turn it all off. There'll be people that have ghost accounts so they can stay connected to their families and see, oh, this child's growing up, or, it's someone's birthday, like that kind of thing. But you're not really, there's no pictures of you anywhere. There's nothing that ties you to that account and what it is you may be thinking or saying. Yeah, it's a tough one because some of you, you may be passionate about something, and it's great if you are animal rights and you want to go down that realm. And granted, anybody that you don't want to work at a place that isn't into animal rights, unless you're into genetic testing and things like that. But it's not
controversial.
You don't need to talk about it. And so, as you go through and think, well, who could this offend? Do you care or do you not? You might, but unfortunately, the enemy gets a vote. It's not your opinion that matters when it's being put out there. It's their opinion and their perception of what it is that you're passionate about or talking about.
I think that brings up a really good point, especially when you're putting things out there that could be controversial. Even if you feel passionately about this, how will they be construed by someone who maybe doesn't know all of your intentions? How is that information going to be received? I also just wonder Rue, what do you think about folks turning off their social media during a job search period?
I'm a pretty, I like to say forensic HR. Like, I'm very investigative on things.
Yeah.
So if I couldn't find any social media presence on somebody that should, now granted, if you came from a 3-letter agency, you are in the intel realm, things like that, you follow normal practices, that would be something I'd be like, oh, that makes sense. And I might even ask them about it. Like, you don't have a social media presence, because we're already doing like a background check, which there are different levels of background check. So, things like that might raise a red flag. And it might be something you want to bring up. Hey, just so you know, I don't really have a social media presence due to A, B, C, and D. And that will make it less suspect.
That's super interesting. I was thinking, like, is it disingenuous to turn it off and then turn it back on? But I like that you said, you would be suspicious if there was really nothing. I think on the other end of that, when you're thinking about posting something controversial, let's say, and it could be anything, it doesn't necessarily have to be politics. It could be about a business, right? It could be a negative review. Is there another platform besides a public facing social media? Can you talk to some vested friends and family, right? Like, is there another outlet for this? And what is the end game? If we're talking about, like, for example, you go to a restaurant and you didn't have a good experience, is there a way to leave constructive feedback, right? If that's your point, if it's just to complain about having a bad time, save that for a friend. If you're like, hey, I really want this business to do well and I didn't have a good experience, I think I have constructive criticism, that's a whole different ballgame. Before we jumped on, we were saying that I think all of us out there have like a friend, a family member, a friend of a friend who has an online presence on any platform that when you see it, you kind of cringe a little and you're like, oh, maybe it's negative, maybe it's diversive, whatever they're posting. But I think we all get that feeling from certain people and their public displays on social media where we feel uncomfortable for whatever reason that might be. And that's exactly what we're trying to avoid. We don't want a potential employer, a recruiter, a hiring manager to see whatever you have posted and think, I don't think I want to interact with that person.
Yeah. And that's something when with the TSR program, we try to build up their LinkedIn presence. You know, obviously you got to increase your number of connections, but then what is it you're posting and reposting about? And does it reflect the values that you want to be portraying when you're in a job search?
And when you are building, when you're helping those TSR members build their social media and build their LinkedIn presence, do you give them tips on what types of things they can be posting to help build their network?
Yeah, I don't try to shape them as much as tell them to take a look inside. It's like, as you're connecting with people that you may know or not know, look at each one of their pages and see how they're successful and what it is that they're talking about. And then, you know, a repost is easy, but a repost is with comments may take a little more thought process, but it's something that as you build repetition and process to it, you're going to get a certain flavor to the posts that you're making. And, you know, if something is blowing up on someone else's page, one, you're helping them out, and two, like I always laugh about LinkedIn, how you'll get all these reactions to something, but no one's reposting it. And it's like, well, is that good or not? I'm like, I'm passionate about this, and I know this is something that people care about. It's about mental health, wellness during job hunt. Okay, so it's like that's going to obviously resonate with people, but it's really comes down to the volume of stuff you may be sending out or that they're getting, and then how much time they have to repost. Like, it could be they're just doom scrolling, but it could be that they're actually reading what you wrote. And you got to stay somewhere in the middle ground so people have the option to do those things.
Yeah, I like that. The other thing, let's say you come across a candidate or someone you're working with who now is a little bit nervous about maybe some of the things they've posted in the past, or they have never really done like a social media like look back, right? Of like, okay, what is this collective body of photos and posts? What is it saying about me as a job seeker? What advice would you give that person to do over the next like course of the next week?
If it was for a week out, that makes it a little bit. I mean, my initial thought was take a deep look inside of yourself and be like, hey, is this the person that I want to be remembered as? If I ended today and what was in my social media presence was moving forward in time, because it's never really going to go away, is what I see out there something that I would want my kids to look at. I would want my church elders, my aunt, my uncle, like whatever you throw in there, would it pass the test? And then start deleting if not. But if it's so bad, that's a restart.
Okay. Yeah, that's always an option.
Yeah.
It's always an option.
But a week doesn't give you a lot of time to build it back up.
No, you're right. It doesn't. But it probably gives you enough time to do that introspection and to maybe take down some of the things that maybe haven't aged as well. And I think what is challenging about us as humans, right? The quote is that life can only be understood in reverse, right? We can only understand it by looking back. And social media is the exact opposite of that. Something that you posted years ago might be brought up now, and you could say, like, I don't feel that way anymore. Yeah, I felt that way at the time. And that's not a true reflection of who you are today. So I think it's absolutely okay to go back, take down some of the things that maybe are not reflective of who you are now, without being disingenuous, right? You're not deleting everything, you're evolving. You are maybe being a little bit smarter, taking down some things that maybe didn't age as well, or you don't feel so passionately or similarly as you did maybe 5, 6, 7, 10 plus years ago, especially for some of, I think, like younger professionals who have had social media all through their teenage years. I can't imagine that you feel the same way at 16 that maybe you do at 26, 36, 46. So I think the evolution is something that we will only really understand with time.
Yep. I can't remember who it was, but someone said to me once, "We're all different now." We are.
Yeah.
Time just went
Yeah.
by, something changed, the wind blew,
Yeah.
like we've all changed. I think a big problem with if you did say something or did do something that you're not necessarily proud of, a lot of people don't want to bring light to that
Yeah.
because they don't want it to come back up. They're fearful of what that may entail. But it's the whole bad news doesn't get better with time. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. It's like bringing it up to say, hey, I don't know what I was thinking back then. I'm obviously different. I've learned more. I've grown as a human being. That shows some
Totally.
humbleness to what it is you're
Yeah.
posting and responding to. And then people are like, well, yeah, he did something bad back here, but he came to terms with it and openly talked about it. And so, I'm a second chance person. I'm a third chance person. I'm going to let that go forward.
And I think that feels really like something people can relate to, right? That, hey, I've evolved and I've grown. I'm owning that maybe I made this mistake or I said something that was controversial. And now I'm different. Like I said, I'm different now. And I can own that I don't feel that way. Or I have a different opinion on this when I learned different information. I think that's really relatable.
And, we see the negative aspects of this. Like you don't, in a job interview with a certain company, they're not going to say, hey, we saw your social media and we don't like you.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. So you're like, oh, well, how do you know it's happening? Well, you see it in the news all the time when people that are in the social realm, they're being set and they do one little thing wrong. How they get,
Yes.
well, it may not be little. They do one thing wrong or they do something wrong, and how it gets blown up. I won't say out of proportion because it could be a pretty major thing.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about little things. It's like, wait, I got that on my social media. I should probably take that off. And that's proof that it's something that people can look at.
It absolutely is. I want to bring up one comment here. Lee, thanks for joining in and thanks for commenting. I think I'm non-existent on social media as I use aliases barring LinkedIn. I think that is a potential solution. Enough sleuthing, depending on how well you're hiding, I think could find you. I also think, of course, yeah, you want to use your own name and your own profile on LinkedIn if you're using it for a professional and for job seeking. I think the one thing and an action item to give our listeners is to have a friend, maybe a friend or two, take a look at your social media all the way through and give you an unbiased opinion. Lee, I would say maybe have someone look and see if they can put any identifiers that it is you or isn't you. Did you get all of those photos with your face on it, or is there some telltale sign that it is you? Would be my challenge for you specifically. But I think using the two friend
is a thing.
Reverse image lookup, do it all the time, all the time. Just remember, technology is always evolving, which means being non-existent is getting harder.
Yeah.
Getting harder out there, getting harder. So I think to kind of wrap up this topic, we'd be happy to take any questions that you guys might have. You can always put them in the comments. The session is being recorded and we'll check the comments after. But just remember that we want your social media presence to propel you to the top of the candidate list and not take you off of it.
Yeah. Another thing, if you're like maybe targeting a certain company or certain types of companies, the difference between two people with the exact same resume, a lot of times comes out to like the volunteer work that they're doing, the non-profitable aspects of who they are as a person. If they're going back to school for A, B, C, or D, or they're helping out planting trees, for example. I know someone that plants trees. She can't get a hold of a pickaxe, but she plants trees in her neighborhood. Those are things that they're relatable topics that bring you inside of the circle. You could have the same personality, get along, like, but they're actually spending some time to give back to the community, and they're not. And if you're going to give back to the community, you are going to give back to a good organization.
Right.
And people look for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Another thing that I just thought of was social media policies at places. And I've had at a previous role, employee mad rant. Had to let him go.
Yeah.
And it was like unquestionably like, I'm going to call the lawyers. I'm like, well, it clearly states disparaging the company in any way on social media is grounds for removal. And that's what happened. So
it's a great point.
After you're already in and you have been doing the right thing, that's not the time to be like, well, I got a job, I can now do whatever I want. Yeah. Not the case.
Great point about a social media policy. I had a similar experience where they didn't even say something negative about employment or place of employment, but they were making a negative post in LogoWare. So the company name was on it.
Yep.
And they were let go on the spot. They were still at the job site and got a phone call and said, pack your things. That's it. Because maybe people think that's harsh, but it was seen by leadership and then reported to the contractor. So your hands are tied. The client is unhappy. Boss is unhappy. Stakeholders unhappy. I can tell you that's it. And you signed the policy. You acknowledged it. So something to think of as well. Oh, here's another comment from Lewis. Thank you so much. Oh, ask for your social networks. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, that's another take that I did not think of, that they would actually ask. And you will know that you will be screened. So interesting.
It does help if you don't have a very long and unique name like Lewis and myself. It might be Luis.
Yeah.
I apologize. Like we have, like, Tara Soprano, unique. Middle of the road. Joe Smith, probably pretty safe.
Probably, yeah. There are definitely more places to hide. Definitely more places to hide. Alexis, yeah. Very, very smart strategy to keep personal and work. I think there's also like personal concerns that maybe you want to keep your personal life away from work on social media, right? Whether you have kids or you work in a sensitive area that not everyone should be privy to. I think that's another great like personal boundary to separate.
Yeah, social media is for dog reels. That's my opinion.
Social media is for dog reels. I love all the baby hippo videos.
Yeah.
I know they're dangerous. I don't care. They're so cute.
Yeah.
They're so cute. Why would they have those cute little ears if they're not supposed to be like loved,
to attract you. And then
that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Well, on the topic, of social media and career navigation, I definitely think we should take a second and highlight the TSR program, Drew, that you work so hard on. So I'm going to put up our flyer. If you would give us a little overview on TSR.
Yeah, if you're a cyber professional or cyber enabler professional who is transitioning out of the services, Tenova TSR program, we are working with Cybercom, DOW to help transitioning service members find the roles that they're looking for. We're not a job placement service, but for a lot of these individuals, they have zero network, which we all know is important when you're job hunting. They have very, very substandard resumes that are very military in speak and don't necessarily speak well to the entire population of potential job placements. And then they also might not have ever interviewed or been in an interview situation and need a modicum of coaching. That's something that we can do, unlike the transition assistance program that military service members are entitled to when they leave or required to take before they leave. This is more tailored. You know, we look at your entire you as a person, which now I'm not going to lie, we weren't looking at social media presence outside of LinkedIn prior to this to go, hey, you know, what are your values and what are you speaking about, and is that going to resonate well? But now we're going to add that in. And this is something that, you know, it's free of charge to you. It's already paid for. You just have to be eligible by being a cyber professional or an enabler and be working towards a minimum of a 2-year contract in the Guard or Reserves. We also want to hear from people who are retiring. I kind of take this one personally. That, you know, if you're getting out, you may not be going into the Guard or Reserves. It's actually very hard to do, but we're still going to give you an hour plus of like overlook of your whole picture and kind of give you the recommended path for success. And once we're connections, then you can always reach back to me, and I'd love to help you out as much as I can.
So if you are a cyber person, coming towards the end of your active duty service, interested in serving in the Reserve or Guard, you can scan the QR code that's up on this flyer to be taken directly to the intake form, and that will connect you with Rue. If you are unsure or you have questions, you can always just comment here. The team or Rue himself will reach out to you, so you can schedule that conversation if maybe you want to have an introductory call first and kind of learn more about the program. So either of those avenues will get you to the right place.
Or if you're a friend of a friend.
Or share it with a friend. Yeah, tag a friend. If it's not for you, go ahead and tag a friend. So for other job opportunities today, I always say this, the people who sign up for our jobs pool get immediate access to new roles. So I actually have 3 new roles that came in this week. I'm gonna be honest, they're not on the job board yet. I am in the process of getting them up there, but they are going to be in the client success realm for a defense contractor. This is one of my favorite companies to hire for. They're great people. They make decisions quickly. I think their work is great. The people that I've helped bring onto their team have been so wonderful. They have nothing but great things to say about the full-time staff there. And I'm not going to tell you who it is because I'm going to make you sign up for the jobs pool. And that's when I send out the email to those people first. So I think that I will have them up by tomorrow at the latest. But I'm excited to present 3 new roles. And putting your resume in our job pool also helps me send you the most targeted information. You get all of the jobs as they get posted first, but then it also helps me for folks who are looking for something really specific. So I always tell people, head over to our website, go to the job board, click on jobs pool, put in your resume, and then you can get all of the new jobs as they become available.
It's a good thing to do.
It is a good thing to do. And it makes sure that you don't miss anything. Maybe you're not actively looking, and then in a couple of months, something comes across your inbox that really resonates. Or like we said, maybe it's for a friend. So that's going to be my advice to all of you. We have a couple of 3 new positions that are going to be posted shortly. People in the jobs pool will get that information first. And if you're a SkillBridge seeker, there's also a SkillBridge pool. And you can put yourself in both pools if you like, if you want to kind of look at all of your options. So I would recommend doing that. Rue, I want to thank you for our special edition on a Thursday of Hot Jobs. This is a a really interesting topic that is going to continue to grow and evolve. So if you do have other questions that we didn't get to today, go ahead and drop them in the comments because we do look at this after it's recorded. And we will catch you guys again next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. See ya.